for You talk. Started out last night, we were going to record, but we had so many comments and suggestions and thoughts that thought it would be a little overwhelming that we would just do a quick PowerPoint. So welcome. We'd absolutely love to have you. We had a fabulous group last year where every single person finished. It was absolutely fabulous. As we were speaking last night, I think about half the group last year didn't have a bike, didn't know how to swim, and everybody got to the finish. So really looking forward to another fabulous season. We've got a lot of athletes who are going to sort of take their game to that next level, and many who are starting for the first time, so excited to get their feet on the start line. So what is the Ironman 70.3? The swim is 1.32 miles, bike 56, and run 13.1, all together in the same day. I think it's always interesting to talk a little bit about the history of WTC. Ironman, as most know, many years ago was originally a bet on Honolulu of who could really do that. They just combined the three events that they knew, which was the Honolulu Open Water Swim, which is 2.4 miles. The whole perimeter of the island is a run there, which is 112 miles, and then the Honolulu Marathon. So that's how the distances evolved for full Ironman distance. And then obviously the sport rapidly grew. And about 15 years ago, I believe, WTC, or World Triathlon Federation, bought the Ironman brand logo, so the M dot that we all know and love, and it's become an incredibly valuable commodity. It is absolutely a for-profit business, so I think that's always good to keep in mind, that you know that this is a business, you're sort of part of it, and so sometimes when it's easy to get frustrated with them, but we love what they do for the overall sport and for the race. There are non-Ironman branded races, those Door County, for instance, which is more of a local race. You'll have a Rev 3 Challenge, which is also another up-and-coming race sponsor. I think Jerry had some really interesting input on that. She did Ironman distance at Rev 3, and there were 300 athletes who competed at that distance. Whereas you guys know, we just came back from Madison, Wisconsin, there was 3,000. So it's a significant different feel. I do like that when you go to an Ironman branded event, you're going to get the hoopla and the party, and you're also going to know that there's good support. Sometimes other brands take over and you're going to be without ice or without water, and it can really just completely ruin your day. So we actually voted earlier in the season, and the group decided to go to Racine. So we're going to target Racine Half Ironman, which is the third week in July, as our race for this year. General guidelines, I just wanted to talk over sort of what's the bare minimum that you need to join the group, or if this training program is right for you. First off, the time. It takes 5 to 7 hours minimum off season. You can always add more, but if you start getting less than this, your day is not going to go well, and we really want this to be in the best health and interest of every athlete out there. About 12 weeks out, we definitely pop up the training. It's 8 to 10 hours. It's definitely done during the weekend. During the week, pretty much stays the same. It's the weekends that really start to increase with the length of the runs and the bikes. So how long does it take for people to do this? I think this is sort of interesting. So here's Racine. Here's the top 10 people. I think I actually pulled this a couple years ago. So it's hard to see, but if you look on that top, that 39 minutes would be swim. Actually, this was a really rough swim this year. 39 minutes. The second one is the bike. So they did the bike in 2 hours and 29 minutes, and the run in 1:46 for 5:01 time. So that was the top finisher of, I believe, the 50 to 54 age. And here, if you look at the very bottom line on this one, you can see this athlete did the swim in 48 minutes, 3.5 hours for the bike, and 3:35 on the run. A marathon time at 3:45 I'm thinking is about an 18-minute mile, and they still came in within the cutoff. They still got the same medal. They're the same athlete. They're the same finisher as the top place. So what I really wanted to say is, this is all about you. What is right for you this year, how much time you have to put into it. So I really feel like I love the sport because everybody can feel comfortable out there, and it really is geared towards every ability level. Other resources, what else do you need? So first you need the time, the money. To me, this sport sort of never ends. It's a sort of a complete money pit. The race entry is at least 200. I think that's sort of if you early enter, if you enter soon. Later on, it'll increase as you go. I do suggest sort of waiting. I think it's sort of worth that. Something can come up with your family. You can have an injury. This race I really don't think this race will sell out. If you're definitely set on doing it, I would register by probably April or May, just because I think you have a really good idea if you're going to do it by then. 2 years ago and 3 years ago, the race did sell out, once in May and the other time right before the race. Last year, the race did not sell out. Just FYI. The hotel, I have a handout with more information about that. The hotel that is close to the start, there's only one hotel close to the start. January 4th at 9 a.m., you can call that hotel and make rooms. It will sell out for race weekend in about an hour, or how long it takes for them, one person, I think, answering the phone. So we definitely like to get that nice and close, especially for your first race. I think it's worth the money. It's usually like $180 a night, and there is a 2-night minimum. A road bike. You will see fat tire bikes, any kind of bike out there. I really suggest, and for this program, really want everyone to have a road bike. I think it's very challenging to do it without, unless you're, a 3:30 marathoner, or you have some other, really big strength. I think it's just, you really need to have a road bike. Miscellaneous expenses, wetsuits is one. You can rent a wetsuit. Totally suggest you buy one just because you want to practice open water beforehand and you don't want to be running back and forth. Garmin with a heart rate. All of the training in this program is going to be based on your heart rate. That's how the program works, how we can do group training, because it's very specific to each athlete. You will know what your heart rate is, what your zones are. So when the training is written, it'll be done by heart rate. So if you want to, you're more than welcome to be in it, but to get the actual training out of it, you definitely have to have a heart rate monitor. Swimming. So what is sort of the bare minimums, or what do you need to know to get into the swim? One, can you either, pick one of these, can you either swim a mile continuously right now, or not and or can you make a commitment to be at Masters or swim 2 to 3 days a week until the race? If you swim 2 to 3 days until the race, you're going to be a rock star and you're going to be fine. We have an incredibly fabulous Masters program. Many of you guys know Janine Stodaker, who for Girls Gone Try pretty much heads up the swim portion. She's absolutely fabulous, and what I love most about this is that it's so inexpensive. You can go to her pre-Masters program, which is Sunday at Del Nor's starting at 4 o'clock for $6. You can't even go to Otter Cove for that, let alone get top-notch swim instruction. So I love that we have such a solid avenue to learn swimming through this. No swimming through the actual 70.3 program. What is included in that is the training and the one meeting a month. So the swimming, there's nothing else included in this, but it's just sort of a way to get you going and give you all those bridges to make those connections. Masters, we love Masters. Couple thoughts about it. I'm going to write it in there. If you go to Del Nor, I think it's back to Northwestern Fitness, Del Nor Health and Wellness is on their website, is all the Masters times. Ping me if you want to know a little bit more about the class. I would say if you're a newer swimmer, you do not want to go to the early morning swims, but most other swims are going to find a time for you. I always think it's great to sort of give the coach a heads up that there's somebody new coming, so then they can save you a spot or something. So if you're thinking of going, chat with me about it and I'll make sure it's a good time for you and let the coach know you're coming. Circle swim, Masters is always in circle swim. You will be with several other people in your lane. Always Good swim etiquette is good to learn. Just always be the last in your lane if you're new. Even that first time, those people might have swum in that lane for 5 years. So even if you feel that you're faster than them, just stick in for the first time or two. Just stick in the back, and just make sure you don't get in anyone's way. Even if someone starts to lap you, just pull over on the wall. Let somebody go around. So we swim counterclockwise in the pool. So you always want to get in, start swimming on the right-hand side of that lane, and turn around. This is a typical warm-up, typical master set. You'll find something similar to what is this written in your Training Peaks, except it'll be a lot more detail. Usually start with a warm-up, and then we'll do some drills and down to sort of the main set, or where you see 3, 1, 2, and 400. You'll learn what all those means, but T-pace is all out. Increasing is you increase your pace as you go, and all the drills. The drills are great to learn in masters, and once again, I really, really, really strongly suggest you do Janine's program. She is doing a special starting October 1st, where it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks on learning proper technique for freestyle. It's just a great opportunity to get in and really, even if you swam in the past, I think it's a great opportunity to get in and really learn the basics and get that down during off season. Biking. Can you ride 40 or 50 miles straight before winter? Or can you ride throughout the winter? One of those are really important. All the time in a triathlon is on the bike. It's all about the bike, and it's all about doing the bike in the proper manner. So biking, as much as you can get outside and go. Lots of options for riding throughout the winter. You definitely have to have a means or a way to bike throughout the winter. You cannot start biking come spring. You can get a standalone trainer, where you can buy those. They're about $200 or $300. Put your bike in those at home. As much as I hate to say this, there's no other training that's going to be as good as being on a CompuTrainer or Wahoo Kicker or other power monitoring device. I didn't say this that strongly last year, and it was just so obvious of who'd really ridden, who put the time in, and who'd stayed at home. With some exceptions, but I feel like if you can get into the bike rack, there is a cost for that. It is expensive. It's $19 a class. We have 2 classes designated just for Girls Gonna Try, Wednesday evening and Saturday afternoon. It's a great way, first of all, to hang out with your friends, see where everybody else is in the training. I coach those 2 classes. If you want to come into my office, there's a charge of $50 an hour, but if I'm there and, I try to answer all the questions that people have about training and how things are going. We also do PowerPoints which we're going to do a lot of within Girls Gonna Try, so it'll follow the same setup, but it's just a great way to learn and really take your training to that next level. Once again, is it necessary? Absolutely not, but you do have to have some kind of trainer or some type of way to ride and exercise inside on a bike. Spin classes, I think spin classes are the absolute worst option possible. Did have some people do it, but you just don't get that sport-specific, that really gain. I'm not sure why that doesn't transfer to cycling that well, but for some reason, it's just definitely not optimal. Running. Isn't this a cute picture, Donna? Donna looks awesome there. Do you have any physical issues that would keep you from walking or running for 3 hours? If you do, this probably isn't the right thing for you. But I think most of you who are listening, that's probably not an option. Not an issue. And know that we definitely run and all through winter. So a couple options. You can either be on a treadmill or bundle up and go outside. Base running. We are going to do a ton of base running. For the first year especially, almost all of the training is done in your aerobic building zone. It's all about endurance. When it comes down to your time and doing well, you're going to do the best for you if you have the endurance. So we're really working on that endurance through the whole thing. Talk a little bit about this. I'm going to do a whole nother PowerPoint about aerobic conditioning. So get back to that. How do you succeed in this program? Consistency is key, hands down, 100%. if you run and you bike and you swim and you follow the program, it works. That was great to have Carol and Donna and several others from the program last year, and that was all at 100%. Doing the programs. If you do the programs, you will be successful. Periodization, I sort of like to talk about what to expect and how it works. Periodization is a systematic planning of athletic and physical training. The aim is to reach the best possible performance in the most important competitive part of the year. It involves a progressive cycling of various aspects of training program for a specific period. Conditioning programs can use periodization to break up the training program into off-season, pre-season, in-season, and post-season. Periodization divides the year into round conditioning program into phases of training which focus on different goals. What this means is we're going to be doing different things for different amounts of time to get to the optimal, to get you to your optimal race condition. So we can't just go out and do the same thing every single day. You can see here how there's 3 to 4, each of these columns is hours per week. So you can see how we just go up and back down. And that recovery, that lowest week where you're really not working out that much, is absolutely the most important. Gains are always made during recovery. So we have the macro cycle. I'm going to show you what our macro cycle is going to be. That's going to be the 1 or 2 month chunk of focus, like we're going to start with a swim focus. And then the mesocycles within that period, that's our build and recovery. And then our microcycle, what are we doing within that week? We're not going to be doing the same thing in that week. We're still going to build and recover within each week. So how we put that together is your race preparation. So we're starting off in October. We're really going to work on base prep. So we're going to really just work on getting the system together, understanding how it works, getting in a routine, getting all the lingo down, getting to where we're comfortable, where in November we can really get down to business. We're also not, during this period of time, a lot of us are recovering or still in marathon season. So, you know, sometimes our focus is still elsewhere. November and December, swim focus. We're going to flip and knock it in the pool. I want everybody, every single person in that program, really focusing on their swimming, getting the most out of it, getting the technique down. We don't have time later in the season to really worry about the technique and swimming. So this is the time to do it. That's when we'll really hound that. We'll bike and run a little bit, but the focus of your time and the focus of your energy is really going to be on that swim. Our goal is to make the gains in the swim and then maintain throughout the rest of the season. January, we're going to start popping bike hours. Bike hours, get that aerobic endurance, get that aerobic capacity. And the other thing that's great about this is running outside can be pretty dreadful or on a treadmill in January. So it's great to be on your bike, be in the training center, wherever it may be in there. And then you see in March, now it's starting to get good. We're starting to focus. We usually do a May half marathon, starting to bump up our run miles by March. And then we're going to get into that race-specific training where that's where you're going to see more of the periodization. From October to March, it's sort of, I don't want to say the same amount of hours every week, but you're not going to see the steep increases in recoveries like you will during the race-specific time. We usually we can talk as a group and see what other races we want to focus on. We usually do the Great Western Half and the Naperville Triathlon and a couple open water swims. I would really encourage you, do not pack 5Ks and 10Ks in this period of time. It will 100% take away from your half Ironman training. To do those races, you have to taper and recover. And especially the recovery, when you're doing a 5K or all-out effort, it takes a lot of recovery. So please, please, please don't start signing up for races. If you want to do this, it's sort of all in. One of my friends said once, I love doing Ironman because it clears my schedule. It's the only thing I have. And this is the same way. When you take on this race, it's all in if you want to really do your best. Slow down to go fast. It's really interesting. I've learned under a lot of great coaches of Joe Friel and Phil Maffetone. We all come back to sort of the same thing. We really need that zone 2. So a lot of times you have to slow down to go fast. We're going to talk about this more in depth as the season goes on. But just sort of as a quick intro, it's basically 180 out of your age. builds that aerobic engine. You're going to feel strong. You're going to have less injuries, less fatigue in life. And it's so simple. It's so hard. It really takes 3 to 6 months to see the difference. Saw this in all the race files. I don't think all of you who raced last year really understood how well you did. Almost everybody's runs were even or pretty close to even. That's just really hard to do, and that's always our goal. So we'll talk about that more as it goes on. Pacing and aerobic fitness is just the key. The key to racing half Ironman is always that last 6 miles. Are you walking or are you running? No matter what pace, if you're running, you're always going to be faster. So we're really going to work on our pacing in the swim and throughout the bike to make sure that you get to that performance. Sort of threw this in just sort of as a teaser. This is a Training Peaks file. If you have Training Peaks, you can get the upgraded files if you're into the numbers. You like to see this kind of thing, you can, for $80 a year, have the same metrics that I have as a coach. So this is a solid run. You can see how that heart rate and that decoupling, the top green squiggly line is the run pace, the bottom red squiggly line is the heart rate. You can see how those are nice and even. So this athlete put in the same effort all the way across and got the same results. So this is an awesome run. You can see this athlete went out. This actually a guy that I started coaching a year ago. I told him to go out and do a run that he thought was not too easy, not too hard, right about where he likes to run. You can see his heart rate continually went up, his pace continually went down. He was 27% less effective when he started than when he finished. So we slowed his heart rate down, slowed his pace down. Look at how now even it is. He told me he felt like he could run forever. It drove him crazy because he was so much slower, but it really helped him build that endurance. Then before you know it, look at, he's right back to where he should be at almost the same pace. So that's really what we're going to work on, and really making you the most efficient athletes. Speed comes with time after you get that efficiency, and that's really what we have to work on. So what are our goals? Get your toes on the start line and finish strong. 2 goals, boom, done. That's what your goals are. You're always going to have the best time if you can do that. If you work out so hard and do this intensity and don't try to shortcut it and don't do it healthy, you're going to get injured and you're probably not even going to get there. Finish strong, that comes with the correct pacing and correct training. So couple things about the training program. We're doing it differently this year. It's $25 a month. I wanted to make it really incredibly affordable to everybody, but it does not include everything it did last year. So with that $25 a month, in your Training Peaks, you get the training plan and 1 meeting a month. So 1 meeting a month, I'll do a slideshow presentation, and then after, just like this, I'll put the PowerPoint online. If you really want your training specific to you, there's I think three girls last year who came in and did individualized coaching with me. So the training plans were for them. So they're going to be different. We do the training plan as a group, as a whole. Or if you want to come into my office, you can come talk to me for an extra charge. So I just really want, once again, and then we'll put a lot of opportunities out there for the swimming and the biking and the running. But that's what we're going to do. I outlined, if you look on the website, sort of, we're going to, within that, we are going to do swim video analysis. That'll be 1 month. And then, transition clinics. And so sometimes it's not a lecture, but a clinic. And I really feel comfortable and confident that we can get everybody there with that knowledge. So thank you guys so much. And the Facebook group. The Facebook group is an awesome source of support. Was fabulous last year. I mean, the thing went crazy every single day. I'd look at my phone and there's messages. This group is just the most supportive, awesome, positive, wonderful group of women that I've about ever met. The finish line is absolutely epic. There's no way you can't just even get emotional thinking about what everybody there put in for it and did it and rocked it. So it's a fabulous group, and we would love to have you join. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you soon.